Hello everyone and welcome back to Comic Vantage. Now, to those of you that watch my channel, know that I love indie comic books, and usually the cheaper the better. So, for most of you out there, when someone says indie comics, you think 90s Image and all the dollar bin goodness that entails. Well, today I am here to show you the other side of the coin. I'm going to show you the key side, the Grail side, the investment side. I want to show you that indie books can hang with the big boys here. So it's going to be completely different than anything that I have done before, especially from, my last key video I did was affordable keys. I got to say, some of these books in this list aren't really that affordable, but if you can afford them, totally get them. So anyway, now this list doesn't include Grails and keys. Doesn't include all Grails and keys that are out there, and there may be some that are better suited for this list, but I wanted to put my money where my mouth is and actually show you books that I own. So, now these books are not for a quick flip. Definitely, you're not going to buy one today, sell it tomorrow for $1 million, unless you happen to find one in the wild somewhere really cheap and someone that has no idea what they have. Now, these books are totally for a long-term hold. Because they just creep up a little bit in value every single year. Now, these books don't need a movie or a TV show or to be optioned for this and that or the other thing. Now, these books really rely on their scarcity alone. And it's really kind of cool to see what happens when you look at these books, especially like their history, and you go back on them. Now, there are other books that didn't make this list, like I said. But at the end of my top 10, I'm going to show you books that just slightly got edged out, either from other books that had more potential, or because they were a little bit too cost prohibitive and I don't own them yet. But after all is said and done, what I really want to do here is show you guys some amazing books you may not know even existed. So, and with that being said, let us start out with number 10 on our list. Now, number 10 on our list comes from 1991. There is no doubt Antarctic Press is hot right now. Almost everything they're putting out is just turning to gold, but they have a lot of good older issues, and this is one of them. Magazine number 11. Now, for the life of me, I can't find a print run on this thing, so I wish I knew. If somebody out there knows a print run on this, let me know down in the comments below. But this book in particular, like I said, came out of 1991, and it is the first appearance of a character named Gold Digger. Beautiful book to own. Like I said, it's actually a little scarce. Now, this book can be found most of the time between, I want to say, $80 and about $300, depending on condition. Yeah, it's going to be that kind of list, people. So, right there, that's number 10. Really worth picking up. Number 9 on our list. Comico Primer number 5. Now, Comico Primer number 5 is the first appearance of a character called Max the Hare, which a lot of people have come to know eventually evolved into the Max from Sam Keith over at Image Comics. Again, I cannot find a print run on this thing. All I know is it's pretty low, and this book is hard to get, especially in a high grade. Again, you're looking at a couple $100 for a high grade copy of this book. Now, I'm going to say this. When you're looking for a book to invest in, always buy the best grade you can afford. If you can't afford 9.8, don't look for a 9.8. Look for a 5. Look for a 6, because it really doesn't matter. These books will go up, and I'm going to show you examples of that later on as well. All right, number 8 on our list. Some of you have seen this on my Instagram already. Strangers in Paradise number 1. God, I love this book. Terry Moore created a masterpiece with this book right here. Now, Strangers in Paradise, the first print run, it had 3 print runs, came out of 1993. First print run, 3,000 copies. Like I said, scarcity, along with an unbelievably amazing story, makes for an awesome book. Again, an older book from Antarctic Press. They put out some awesome books back in the day. People really didn't look at Antarctic Press. I don't know why, because wow, good stuff. This eventually did go to Abstract Studios later on, and then it went to Image Comics. So I think it still might be released under Image. I'm not sure. So, beautiful book. 3 printings. The only way to tell the difference in the printings is the indicia down the inside the front cover. The first one will actually say "Kachu," which is "Kachu" here, and it'll say "Bless you." So, and then the second printing will say "Second print." Third printing will say "Third print." So, there we go. Man, I love that book. All right, and now number 7 on our list. Haha, another book some of you may have seen on my Instagram. San Diego Comic-Con Comics, issue number 2 from Dark Horse Comics. This book comes out of 1993. 1,500 print run. 1,500 copies. That is just insane for a book. It's so low. I do have copies or books that beat that, though. And those are going to be coming up. Anyway, first appearance of Monkey Man and O'Brien, which is a great story from Art Adams. Also, first appearance of a little-known character named Hellboy. That's right. First appearance of Hellboy in black and white comics. Again, 8.0. It doesn't matter. Because these books, it doesn't matter what grade you're going to get them in. I'm telling you, people, they will go up. It's shocking. But then again, I mean, this book, I can see my spine creases in here. It's one of the reasons why I bought it. Look, it's actually dirty. I'm going to crack this out, clean this up. I guarantee I'm going to get a 9 out of that. But that's going to be a whole other video altogether. Anyway, San Diego Comic-Con Comics, issue number 2. And then number 6. Number 6 on our list is Comico Primer number 2. Oh, first appearance of Grendel. This comes at you from 1982, print run of 1,800. This is another one of those books. Man, it looks so pretty right now. When I got it, oh, this was all just dirty and disgusting, and I cleaned it up and threw it in my press, and now I have a beautiful copy. Hard to get. Grendel's a great character, lots of potential. Yeah, it's just an absolutely amazing book. And next up, and sitting smack dab in the middle of our list, from, what do we got here? 1991. Evil Ernie number 1 from Eternity Comics. Print run 12,000. I think this is possibly the largest print run of a book that I have on this list. But again, wow, 12,000 is still incredibly low. First appearance of Evil Ernie and Lady Death. This is one of those odd books. You know, the first time I bought this book, way back in the 1990s, I think I paid almost $100 for the book. And now high-grade copies are running upwards of $500 and $600. It's just one of those books that just creeped up in value every year, just up and up and up. And I really don't see any reason it should stop, especially with high-grade books. High-grade copies are going to be hard to get. 9.8s of this book are pretty much non-existent. Okay, now the next book. Oh, this is actually probably one of my favorite books after Evil Ernie. This is a book from 1979. Visions number 1. Now, some of you probably have never even seen this book or heard of it, and as you can tell, it is magazine size. There are several magazine size issues. Look at this cover. Look at those beautiful type pencils by Neil Adams. That's right, the one and only Neil Adams busted out that. Oh man, it's just gorgeous. Print run of 1,000 copies. Every single one is signed and numbered. I believe it was like from Atlanta Fantasy something was the company that put this out. For the life of me, I cannot remember. 1979, $4. Wow, that was expensive for a book back then. Now, the reason this thing is so popular, besides the incredibly low print run, we have the cool Neil Adams artwork, we have an amazing Jim Steranko interview inside. This is also the first appearance of a character called the Flaming Carrot. I kid you not, people. First appearance of the Flaming Carrot. And I'm going to have a picture of him right here so you all can see that, what it looks like in the inside. Amazing book to own. You can usually snag high-grade copies of this book for around, I want to say $300 and $400, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so that was number 4 on our list. Now, number 3 on our list. Oh, number 3. Now, this is an absolutely amazing book. Number 3 changed underground and indie comics forever. There had never been anything like this before, and there's probably never been anything like it after. This book's from 1982. It's called Love and Rockets. Look at that. It was done by three brothers. They're the Hernandez brothers, who, now I'm going to get into a little story, but first, it's an anthology book. Some of it's done by the Hernandez brothers, some are done by other artists and writers. The whole thing is absolutely amazing. This book is still running today. I believe this is the Fantagraphics version of the book. There is a black and white cover of this book. Now, the black and white cover of this book, it's, wow, I don't even know the print run on it, but it was ridiculously low, and it was self-published. They actually had a printer print it up, and then they stapled it and folded it and stapled it together themselves, which was absolutely insane. Picked up by Fantagraphics and then released with this with this color cover. So this is technically a first printing, where the other one is a self-published first printing. Both amazing books. This one here in a first print can be picked up for a couple $100 for a nice high-grade copy. The black and white version usually runs about $300 to $400 for a high-grade copy. This book went into 4 printings. The way to tell the printings apart, not only by the indicia inside, but by the price tag. This was $2.95 right there. That is a first print. It then went to $3.50. And that is the second print, and then so forth. I believe it then went to $3.95 and then $4.95. The fourth printing also is an error book. The indicia inside says 5th printing, but there was no 5th printing. It's technically a 4th. So anyway, guys, even if you find a low grade 4th printing of this book and you can pick it up for $12, please do, just to read it. Like I said, this book is still going on today. The Hernandez brothers are still writing it and drawing it and putting out these incredible stories, these giant, huge cast of characters. And their characters actually age and evolve and grow, and you know, you need a scorecard to keep track of all the people in their stories. This is an unbelievably beautiful book. It really, really is. So guys, do yourself a favor. $12, usually like $10 or $12 for a 2nd to 3rd print, low grade, just to read it. And I promise you're going to be hooked. You will want to keep reading Love and Rockets, and I hope I can turn some of you on to just a great, great story. All right, wow, that actually really went long and hard. Now, number 2 on our list, I don't have the book yet in my hand, but I do own this book, and I'm going to put a picture of it right here so everybody can see. Goon #1 from Avatar Press from 1999, 2,200 print run. That's right, only 2,200 copies printed. As you can see, this is an amazing, amazing book. Now, this officially is not the first appearance of Goon. He appeared in a comic book called Dreamwalker #0. It was a 4-page print, 4-page story. I also have a picture of that right here. Again, Goon #1. Mid-grade copies are going to run you a couple $100. High-grade copies, you're looking at, wow, 600 to 1,000. Yeah, but even mid-grade copies are going up in price like crazy. So totally worth picking up the Goon #1. All right, now the #1 book on our investment list here, one of my also personal favorites, The Crow #1. Now, not the first appearance of the Crow, but it is the first Crow miniseries that came out. This book had 3 printings. The first printing itself had a 10K print run, second highest print run on this list. Absolutely amazing book. If you can grab this in any grade, in any print run, do it. Every single one. This book here, like in the last 10 years, every year has been rated the #1 indie investment comic. Even third printings. It's been rumored 3rd printings only have a 1K print run. That's right, only 1,000 printed. So even those are going up in value every single year. So any grade, any print run, just buy it. Really do yourself a favor. Okay, that's my top 10 list. So I'll recap that in a bit. Next up, I want to get to my honorable mentions. All right, so now honorable mentions. Now our first honorable mention here is The Tick #1 from 1983. Now this book went into 3 printings. Here's the first print. That is the second print. Now, You know, there's always a little discrepancies and arguments back and forth about first appearances. There is a special edition book, has a white cover, and this technically is a reprint of that. But this is still called the first appearance. I don't know. Anyway, it's still a great book to own. It doesn't have as much potential as some of the other books. It just kind of has a little spike every now and again. But really, a good high-grade copy of this first appearance right here, of this issue, $50 and under. So it's definitely worth getting. All right, the next book on our list for honorable mention. Milk and Cheese, number 1. Dairy products gone bad. Now this is an absolutely beautiful book. This book went into 7 printings to tell you how popular it was. Now the way to tell the different printings apart is that each printing has its own little blurb up top here. Special, non-embossed, no die cut, 9 holographic, unenhanced, regular old comic on crappy newsprint, 4th printing. I believe once you get to 5th printing, it actually says you should have ordered more the first 4 times. Anyway, Milk and Cheese. But this is not the first appearance of Milk and Cheese. The first appearance of Milk and Cheese is in this book right here. And this is Greed number 6. And Greed number 6 comes from 1989. As you can see, we have our friend Flaming Carrot here on the cover. Greed is one of those high grade or those high price books though. A couple $100 will get you a nice copy. Both worth having, but again, you know, it's low potential on these. They're just fun to have. Seriously, society is to blame. I am a carton of hate. I am a wedge of I love that. Okay, next up on our honorable mention list, Razor. Yes, Razor issue number 0 and issue number 1. This book has some potential to it. You can usually find some nice high-grade copies of both of these books for $100 and under. Now, a lot of people think Razor number 1 is her first appearance. That is incorrect. A lot of people erroneously think that. It's actually Razor number 0. And Everett Hartsoe confirmed this to me himself. So he actually has, even up on his Facebook page, he has a picture of this book, and he says underneath it, "My first published work." So this issue number 0 is the first appearance of Razor. There is a movie coming out, so it does give this book a little bit of potential. Next, coming at you from 1986, Dark Horse presents number 1. And this is the first appearance of a character named Concrete. Concrete is an absolutely amazing character. He's a lot of fun. And now, Dark Horse, when Liefeld dumped Netflix, they lost all the right to the properties they had of his. They started looking at Dark Horse. So Netflix has the option to put out almost anything Dark Horse has produced, and I really think Concrete has some potential here and can be a really, really good television series. So I'm kind of like doing a little stockpiling here. This book here is $12 and under this can be found for. So for $12, I mean, you can't pass up a high-grade copy of that. Okay, now the next book I joke about, and a lot of people out there joke about this. Darker Image number 1. Now, seriously, we have 3 first appearances going on here. We have a first appearance of the Max, Blood Wolf, Deathblow. Now, this is the gold edition. I don't know what's been going on with this book lately. When I first started shopping around for this book a couple years ago, you can have a copy of this for $10 to $20. Now we're pushing 50, and I'm not sure. I think people are really just starting to catch on, you know, how much potential this book actually has with its 3 first appearances. So definitely one to look out for. Every so often, you can still grab a copy for around $10. If you can find one, I would absolutely jump on it. Now, another book coming out of Image around the same time, the Max number 1, Glow in the Dark. Look at this. This is a beautiful book. And this is another one. When I first started looking for this book a few years ago, it was about a $20 book. And now we're looking at between $30 and $50. So again, I think people are starting to catch on. A lot of these older 90s indie comics, especially from Image, are really starting to get some love. So definitely another one to keep an eye out for. Okay, now the next book, little controversy behind it, and that is Dead World number 10. Now, why, oh why do you want to buy a copy of Dead World number 10? Now, this book here is about a $50 book if you can find it raw. It can get up to $100 if you find it a high-grade CGC copy. I'm about to show you why. Now, unofficially, it's recognized as the first appearance of a little character called the Crow. That's right, we have a Crow advertisement on the back of the book. So a lot of people call this the first appearance of the Crow. I mean, well, it looks like a crow to me. And this predates Caliber Presents, which was, I mean, it's still recognized as the first appearance of the Crow. But like I said, I mean, that looks like him to me. It's funny how a lot of these advertisements are now being considered first appearances. So, I mean, for $30 to $50, totally worth grabbing. Now, the next book follows in the same vein as Dead World number 10, but this, oh, actually, and this is from 1989, by the way. Anyway, the next book follows in the same vein as Dead World number 10, but it has a little bit more resistance to it. People are resistant to call this a first appearance. All right, so let me show you what's going on here. This is Rust issue number 1 from 1992, put out by Adventure Comics. Now, let me show you what we got going on here. I'll pull this out of its bag and board. This has an appearance. Now, this is actually listed on CGC labels as an appearance of Spawn. Again, full page advertisement of Spawn. Now that looks like a Spawn appearance to me, right? This book predates Malibu Sun. But for some reason, people are very, very hesitant and resistant to calling this the first appearance of Spawn. I don't know why. That looks like Spawn to me, and it looks like he's making an appearance in a book. So this book in particular is rather inexpensive compared to a book like Malibu Sun. You're looking at, wow, $30 to $40 for a high-grade copy of this. And again, I mean, it's actually, when you get this book CGC'd, it does say Spawn appearance on it. So I think CGC is a little bit hesitant to take a side as well on that. Because, you know, once CGC says it, everybody follows suit. So I would still say kind of stock up on that, just in case. Because, man, if this is officially recognized as a Spawn first appearance, this book's going to blow up. All right, next up, from 1989, we have Cry for Dawn number 1, first appearance of the lovely Dawn, put out by CFD Productions, and this came out of, like I said, 1989. 3 printings on this book. First print, 10K. Each print has a different cover, so they're easy to tell apart. Like the back cover of this book becomes the cover of the second printing, and the third printing has a full face shot of her. Beautiful book to get. You can usually have these for about $100 and under. Great, great indie grail. This book was so popular back in the day. There's actually counterfeits of this floating around. Joe Linsner, when he signs this book, will go over this entire book with a fine-tooth comb to make sure it's not a counterfeit before he signs it. Great book to have. And there's some amazing, it's an anthology, horror anthology in here. The series ran 9 issues. Every single book is amazing. Okay, so that's it for my honorable mentions. Now, my next list are books that are just right on the edge of way too cost prohibitive for me to own. Oh, and for that, we are going to start with Cerebus number 1. Now, Cerebus number 1 came out of 1977. This is a reprint. Right there. That's actually what the cover of the first issue looks like. Again, there are counterfeits of this book floating around, so make sure you look for how to spot the counterfeits when you're looking for a raw copy. To let you know how popular this book is, a recent counterfeit 9.4 CGC, and it's splattered on the label counterfeit, sold for $500 on eBay. And this book is insane for an indie grail. God, I would love to own a first print of that book. Man, that'd be so neat. Anyway, but you know, this, you're looking at $1,000, $2,000 book for a high grade copy when you find a Cerebus. Okay, next up we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, this is the free comic book day reprint, but I wanted to pull this out because that's actually what the first cover looks like. This is the 4th print of the first issue. Again, this book is so popular, any of the printings will actually do very, very well for you. Now, the book came out of 1984. The first print, it had 4 printings. The first printing was only a 3K print run, which is incredibly small. Oh, and actually, did I mention that Cerebus only had a 2K print run? Okay. Anyway, 4K print run on the first issue, 3K print run on the first issue, but this was not the first appearance of the Ninja Turtles. The first appearance of the Ninja Turtles is this book here. This is Gobbledygook, issue number 1 and issue number 2. They're actually both right here. They have advertisements on the back page or interior somewhere of the Ninja Turtles. This is recognized as their first appearance. Now, this book here, impossible to get a hold of. There was only 50 copies of each one printed. Not to mention, super, super easy to counterfeit. So, wow, because it was actually photocopied on a photocopy machine by Eastman and Laird. And then they folded each book and stapled them themselves, which is just absolutely insane. All right, so TMNT, lots of money. And now the next book on our list, which is right here, Deadline number 1, and this is from 1988. This is the first appearance of Tank Girl. Everyone out there has heard of Tank Girl. You know, she had her ups and downs throughout the years, but popularity stays steady. It's a great character, great story. So this book really isn't going anywhere. It's an awesome book to own. Okay, next on our list, we're getting down to the wire. Only 2 more cost-prohibitive books to go. The next one, this book right here, Bone number 1 from 1991. This has a 3K print run. Again, wow. I mean, absolute grail book. Man, I would kill to own a Bone number 1. Who knows? Okay, and last book on this list, and wow, probably a crazy book you guys have never heard of, and that is Albedo Anthropomorphics, issue number 2. And this book is the first appearance of Usagi Yojimbo. That comes out of 1984, 2K print run. This book is probably like one of the holiest of grails and keys for indie comic books. I mean, if you can find a high grade copy of this book, you're looking at, you know, 9.8s will get up there $9,000 for this book. But this book is so, nobody knows this book exists right here. Yeah, I mean, I will not be surprised if someone found this in a wild, out in a dollar bin somewhere, because nobody knew what they had. I mean, who's ever heard of Albedo Anthropomorphics, issue number 2? Anyway, so those are my books. Now let me go through my top 10 again, just do a quick recap. So my top 10, starting at number 10, we have Magazine number 11, first appearance of Gold Digger, great book. Number 9, Comico Primer number 5, first appearance of Max the Hare, later to be known as The Max. Coming in at 8, Strangers in Paradise number 1, low print run, a beloved story right here, making it for an absolutely amazing book to own. Coming in at number 7, we have San Diego Comic-Con Comics number 2, first appearance of Hellboy. Next, Comico Primer number 2, first appearance of Grendel. Yes, first appearance of Grendel. Woo. Great book. And we have it sitting at number 5, Evil Ernie number 1. This one here, this is dear to my heart and a great investment. At number 4, Love and Rockets, issue number 1. Oh, no, wrong book. Number 4 is Visions number 1, first appearance of Flaming Carrot. And then at number 3, we have Love and Rockets #1, one of the greatest indie stories ever written here. Everybody should just pick up a higher print copy of this book just to have it and just to read it. And then number 2, we have The Goon, which I'm just not going to bother picturing this time. Number 1, we have The Crow, rated the best indie investment book of the last like 10 years. So totally worth getting. Anyway, guys, that's my top 10 list. Then we have the honorable mentions over here. Oh, wow, that was actually a lot of fun to make. A lot of information. Hope I didn't overwhelm you guys, but I really, really hope I turned you on to some great, great books here. Like always, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. To my current subscribers, you're amazing. Love you guys. To my patrons, huge, huge, huge thank you. You guys are amazing. Seriously. Top of the line right there. If you're new to the channel, hit the little CV right there. Subscribe, 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 subscribe. Like, share, do all that kind of good stuff. If you have indie books that you love and you want to put on this list or want to talk about them, leave a comment down below. I love talking about indie comics. And like always, guys, thank you for watching. If you like this kind of video, let me know down below. Leave a comment. Like always, thank you for watching and take it easy.